Good morning, good evening, good night. This is 5 on 20 News. It's Frank Powers.
And Joel Foster coming to you live from our studio in downtown Tucson. It is finally Friday, and you know what that means.
Casual Friday. Woo! Let's go. Rip them off, folks. There you go. I'm not even wearing pants. All right, let's talk local headlines.
Yeah.
Arizona lawmakers were split in their responses to the president's tweets announcing that transgender troops are no longer welcomed in the military. Senator John McCain, who already criticized the president's use of Twitter on Wednesday, released an official statement yesterday. McCain said that any American who meets current medical and readiness standards should be allowed to continue serving. Arizona Representative Ruben Galeo quickly called a meeting to the House of Democrats to discuss the proposed policy. At the meeting, Galeo called the announcement embarrassing and dumb. He said that there's a reason why Defense Secretary James Mattis didn't use the policy. Mattis was reported on vacation when Trump sent the tweet on Wednesday morning, shortly before 9 a.m., presumably while he took his morning Trump dump. Not all Arizona lawmakers disagreed with Trump's tweet. Representative Trent Franks said it wasn't so much about the transgender issue, but more about the military being used for social experiments by the left. He said that if someone wants to serve in the military, then they should first decide if they are a man or a woman. It could also be said that if Franks wants to be a congressman, then he should decide whether he wants to serve as the American people or be a hateful bigot.
Yeah, make the decision. Arizona Senator and secret author Jeff Flake has raised over $4 million for his 2018 re-election campaign, according to the Federal Election Commission. Flake's fundraising far overshadowed his two competitors, Kelly Ward, who raised a little over $400,000, and Deidre Abboud, who raised almost $7,000. Flake's re-election is considered to be in danger both because of his unwillingness to oppose the Republican health care bill and, oddly, because of the president. Trump has reportedly been meeting with potential challengers to Flake in order to get him kicked out of office. This is due to Flake's criticisms of Trump on the campaign trail. Because Trump is famously thin-skinned, of course he had to seek revenge, no matter how petty the offense. But Flake's opposition to Trump may curry him favor, as the president's approval rating once again dropped today. However, according to a recent survey, Flake was the third least popular member of Congress behind fellow Arizona Senator John McCain and Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. According to the survey, Flake is now less popular than Martin Shkreli, Kim Jong-un, and the Sonic guys.
I hate the Sonic
I know,
guys.
everyone does.
Good reference. A Mesa doctor set the world record for the largest tumor ever removed from a human. Dr. Greg Martian removed a 17-centimeter tumor in 2015 and was recently credited by the World Record Academy. Martian described the tumor as being the size of a soccer ball. Good Lord. The removal process involved what he calls in-bag marcellation. Martian placed a plastic bag around the tumor through skin incisions. He then broke the tumor apart inside the bag and took the pieces out. This prevented any cancerous material from returning to the abdomen, where it was removed from. This isn't Martian's first world record. He also holds the record for removing the largest uterus at 7 pounds in 2008. So Martian is pretty much the Michael Phelps of tearing out cancer. On another note, who else is hungry?
Yummy. Consumers spent $21.2 billion yearly on outdoor recreation in Arizona, according to a report by the Outdoor Industry Association. The report also found that the activity created 201,000 jobs in the state. Almost $1.5 billion in tax revenue was also earned through the outdoor economy, while over $5.5 billion was paid out to employees. The report further proves that Arizona's natural environment continues to be a major driver of the economy. This comes at a time when a group of Republican lawmakers are urging the Interior Department to review the protected status of 3 national monuments in Arizona. The lawmakers include Representatives Paul Gosar and, surprise, surprise, Trent Franks. There he is again. They want to open up the areas to gas and oil drilling, which they claim will produce billions of dollars in tax revenue for the state. Or they could just leave the earth alone and still earn billions in revenue, as the report proved. But as we know about Trent Franks, he can't leave anything alone.
Arizona researchers have developed the first technique to test chronic traumatic help me out.
Encephalopathy. Oh.
We're close. Something with monopoly, or CTE, in living adults. Currently, CTE tests can only be carried out on the deceased because the testing involves invasive manipulation of the brain. The test was developed by the Barrow Neurological Institute in association with the Translational Genomic Research Institute. The technique is being called the Barrow T-Gen test. It searches for elevated traces of tau protein, which binds cells in the central nervous system. Scientists believe that the damage to these proteins may play a large factor in CTE and also plays a role in Alzheimer's disease. However, Dr. Javier Cardenas at the Barrow Center says that there still needs to be a lot more testing to determine if Barrow T-Gen test works. The method comes as at an important time for CTE studies. This week, a Boston University study found that CTE was present in almost all the brains tested, which had undergone multiple brain surgeries. This included the brains of multiple former NFL players. No word yet on whether Barrow T-Gen test will be carried out on our president, who's likely a contender for the CTE based on, well, pretty much everything. So now, in national and international news.
All right, the House approved a national security spending bill that includes $1.6 billion to fund the big, beautiful, sexy, terrific wall. The $827 billion package passed 235 to 192 votes, largely along party lines. 5 Republicans voted against the bill, including Justin Amash, John Duncan, Walter Jones, Thomas Massey, and Mark Sanford, all fiscal conservatives who generally opposed increased defense spending. Arizona's Kirsten Sinema was among 4 other Democrats who voted for the bill, including centrist Sanford Bishop, Charlie Crisp, Josh Gottheimer, and Tom O'Halloran. The bill will be met with more fierce opposition in the Senate, where Republicans hold less of a majority. Democrats mainly oppose the funds being used for the border wall because, well, according to the president, they hate freedom, or something. In addition to the big, beautiful wall funding, the bill includes a $68 billion increase for the Defense Department and $3.9 billion in new funds for the Department of Veteran Affairs. It also includes $29 million in funding for Capitol Police, prompted by the shooting of Representative Steve Scalise last month. This is the 4th of 12 spending bills that need to be approved in order to avoid a government shutdown in October. If the government shuts down, then Speaker of the House Paul Ryan says he'll spend the time going back to his favorite hobby of rubbing hot oil all over his body in front of a mirror.
Speaking of that, anybody hungry?
Yeah.
Arizona Senator John McCain cast the deciding vote last night to kill the so-called skinny bill to replace the Affordable Care Act. McCain was one of 3 Republican senators who voted against the bill, in addition to Alaska's Lisa Murkowski and Maine's Susan Collins. McCain's vote drew audible gasps from the audience, where the vote took place around 1 in the morning. Republicans needed support from 50 Republican senators in order to pass the bill, which would have eliminated the individual mandate that requires Americans to have health insurance or pay a fine. This was the 3rd attempt to repeal Obamacare in as many days since the Senate voted to continue discussion on the repeal. Might be time to give it up, guys. Trump reportedly sat pen in hand waiting for the bill to pass, which, if nothing else, is hilarious to picture. Since he didn't get to sign his name, which we know he loves to do, Trump instead took to Twitter, his second favorite thing to do. He said and wrote, as I said from the beginning, let Obamacare implode, then deal. Watch. What a great attitude. In recent weeks, surveys showed the Americans increasingly support the Affordable Care Act, proving that Trump was able to do something that Democrats couldn't do in 7 years. Sell the Affordable Care Act to the American people. So, good job?
Yeah. Bravo. Russia took control of 2 American diplomatic posts this morning and ordered the U.S. to reduce its diplomatic presence in the country. The move was in response to additional sanctions placed on Russia, which was passed by Congress yesterday. The president is yet to sign the bill, and the country waits to see how he'll respond, since he has a history of defending the actions of Russia, who is accused of helping his presidential campaign, which you may have heard. John Teft, the U.S. ambassador to Russia, was summoned to the foreign ministry to receive the news, where he was told that the number of diplomatic personnel should not exceed 455, the same number of Russian diplomats allowed in the U.S. Currently, there are about 1,100 staff combined between the Moscow embassy and the 3 consulates around the country. This would mean that more than 600 diplomats would be removed from Russia. He was also told that Russia would close the embassy on the outskirts of Moscow and use it for warehouse space starting on October 1st. It will then likely be transformed into a hackerspace to work on our next election. Just wait.
Pakistan's Supreme Court ruled that the country's Prime Minister, Nawaz Sharif, will be removed over accusations of corruption. Sharif was serving his 3rd term in office, but was dealt a serious blow to his power upon the release of the Panama Papers, which revealed widespread corruption by his family. The documents show that the Prime Minister's 2 sons and daughter owned expensive residential properties in London, financed through offshore companies. The governing political party of Pakistan, the Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz, will now choose an interim prime minister until the next general election scheduled for mid-2018. Sharif called the case against him a conspiracy, and he maintained that in his 3 terms, he was not caught up in any corruption scandals. However, he refused to hand over any paperwork requested by the court that would have proven his innocence. This all sounds familiar. But in the unanimous Supreme Court decision, the court ruled that Sharif was not honest and that he was disqualified from being a member of parliament. Gee, I wish our Supreme Court had that kind of power.
Oh, be lovely. All right, too much sugar can lead to depression in men, according to a report from the University College of London. The study looked at the connection of sugar intake and mental illness among 5,000 men and 2,000 women who were recruited in the 1980s. It found that men who consumed more than 67 grams of sugar per day had a 23% increased chance of suffering from a mental disorder. The study also looked at whether depressed men tended to eat more sugar, but this turned out not to be the case. However, no effects were found in the women analyzed in the study. The University of London study was 1 out of 3 that have linked sugar consumption and mental health problems.
I got you this before we got it. Well, that being said, and since we're having a little beverage, let's have a cheers for something that wouldn't get talked about. It's my new favorite baseball card in this like Trump collaboration, the Mooch.
The Mooch, come on,
come on, he's the front stabber. So the whole thing with the Mooch, I'm not sure if you saw it today, his wife filed for divorce. So his life every single day this week has been quite the adventure. It's been a joy to watch. Oh man, don't unpack your bags, buddy. So yeah, this was 5 on 20 News. Don't forget to give us a like on Facebook, like, share, and subscribe on YouTube, all that sort of thing. And for all the latest and creative Tucson content, make sure to email us and all that. Right now, coming up next, it's you're gonna stick around for Joel's take on This Week in Mediocrity. What are you talking about?
Actually, I'm talking about the Mooch over here. I'm talking about the Mooch over here. Come on. Come on.
I'm so excited.
We got the Mooch, we got the transgender military issue. We've got some new characters that I found.
It's been a hell of a week.
It has. It was busy.
Political nonsense.
It was.
Heck
yeah.
So
stick around.
Hey, you got through it and you didn't drown. You didn't drown outside. So enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. Stay creative. Tucson. Have a good weekend.
See you in a minute.